Welcome to the Heal with Kelly podcast. I'm Kelly Noonan-Gorse, and every week I speak to the leading doctors, healers, spiritual teachers, and scientists to find out what is truly possible when it comes to healing. I also interview real people with extraordinary healing stories. My philosophy is, what's possible for one is possible for all. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful journey of remembering our divine nature and tapping into the truths that shall set us free. Hey everyone, welcome to the Heal with Kelly podcast. I am here today with one of my dearest friends, Rob Wergin. What a light worker, energy healer. He was featured in Heal, and we are here today to just catch up on what's been going on for the last 7 years. Can you believe it's been 7 years, Rob?
No, I can't. I cannot.
Really 8 years since we filmed it, right?
Wow, yeah.
It's
Yep.
crazy. Time flies. So a lot of people know you from the film, and then other people will have never seen your work. So I think the first thing we should do is talk about what it is you do. And then in the film, I wasn't able to share your backstory and how you, ended up becoming an energy healer. It's an unlikely story, but I think it's such a powerful one.
Certainly is.
So let's kind of what is energy healing? What kind of work do you do? And then we'll get into your story.
So my work, in my opinion, is unique because I don't use guides. I don't have what I call middlemen. I'm able to connect directly with the divine, God, universe, whatever title you want to put on that. It's not religious. It's just this divine source energy that I can just plug into at will. And so then what happens is, for whatever reason, and I still don't know why, my body has been built to take this enormous amount of energy. So the way I kind of like to explain it is, it's like plugging into 100,000 volts of electricity. And for whatever reason, my body can handle it, because then what it does is it separates it. So let's say there's 100 people in the room. My body will separate it into 100 different strands of energy so that each person is getting an individual healing. So I get all this energy, and then I'm able to separate it into separate strands of light energy. And I describe it like I'm the spoke of a wheel, and everybody I'm working with I'm the hub, and everybody has a spoke. So because we're all unique, because we're all different, because we all have different needs and wants and soul paths and all of that, you can't, in my work, just blast everybody with the same energy, because it's not appropriate that way for everybody. So for some reason, I'm able to separate it, and whether there's 100 people or 1,000 people, there's different strands of energy to each person. And at the same time, the entire group as a group gets worked on with group energy. So it's really cool.
So cool.
It's really cool. And my position is, I get to observe this. I'm the one that's the conduit, but I get to observe what's happening with the energy and what's happening with each person and what's going on. And I monitor the space to make sure the space is always sacred and protected and all of that. And so it's fascinating because everybody has a different experience. And because the frequency and the vibration that comes through me is so high, sometimes people don't even feel it because it's outside their range of understanding. And sometimes it's jolting to people, and sometimes it's both. But most of the time, people feel warmth, they feel tingling, they feel something happening in their body, because the purpose of this energy is to enter the body and literally explode the density in the body, that's packed on emotions from lifetimes and lineages and all that. Explode those big packages of density, open up so that there's stagnation goes away, so the body can once again breathe this beautiful divine energy, which is what creates the healing.
Wow.
So that's the quick version of it.
Yeah. It's so funny because as you were describing the spoke, and so these little lights of energy are going, streams of energy are going out to the various people in the room. And then I thought of bespoke. It's bespoke to them. They're spokes on the wheel.
I should say that I'm a bespoke healer now.
Yeah, I'm a bespoke channeler of light.
Yeah.
But so You said you kind of manage the energy in the room. Do you actually see light? What do you observe through your
I
eyes?
can I can see everything that's happening. And we'll get to that in a minute. But when I first started doing this work, when I was asked by the divine to do this work, since I had been a CEO for most of my life, I wanted to negotiate the terms of the deal, right?
Funny.
I can't believe I'm negotiating with God, but it's kind of funny now. But what I knew at the time was that I knew very little about healing, but I'd heard that a lot of healers went into a trance. And I demanded at the time that I not go into a trance because I wanted to be able to observe what was happening so I could understand what was happening, so I could explain it to somebody if I needed to. So I'm an observer and a conduit. So I'm feeling, seeing the energy, and I'm seeing what happens to people. I'm seeing where it's going in their body. And over all these years, I'm on my 21st year now. Um, I intuitively know what's happening because it happens really fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so imagine, so if you were in the room and you were the only person I'm working with, I take one quick look at you and it's like a Xerox machine. It does a quick scan of you, and all of that information goes up and then comes back in the form of light into my body and then back into your body. And it happens, in a millisecond. But I can see what happens. So it's like I'm in almost slow motion, even though it happened faster than you can even imagine. I'm aware of what's happening and why and where it is. And the other deal that I made 21 years ago is I said, I want to understand. I'm happy to do this work for you. I want to observe it and I want to understand it. So please answer any questions that I have, like why do you keep going to the liver for this reason, or the pancreas for that reason, or the heart, or why are you doing that? And what is it about the heart that's creating the challenge in the body that you're now getting rid of? So I've become I've got a lot of knowledge about what happens in the physical, mental, and etheric bodies and the energy body, because I get to witness it all the time. And the other thing that I love about it is it keeps me interested. I don't, if I went into a trance every time, I'd probably get bored, right? But every healing to me is like exciting because everyone's different. And I don't know the outcome. I don't know that if we do this, that's going to happen, because we got your free will in the middle of all that, and your belief and your faith and all that. And, so I don't know what's going to happen. So it's always, kind of fun for me. Like, okay, let's see what happens now. And I'm
Yeah.
like a little boy in a magic shop that gets to play in this amazing magic every day, and with just the excitement of knowing that anything and everything is possible.
And we will get to some of the amazing healing stories in a second, but let's get back into your story,
Okay.
and tell us how 21 years ago, what had been going on in your life that sat you on that beach in Seal Beach,
Yeah.
ready
Right down
to,
from your house.
yeah, exactly. Because I think it's a fascinating story, and I love it because, as you were just describing, I feel like a kid. And oftentimes when we stray from what we were put on the planet to do and the things that brought us joy and our gifts as a child, and, we choose the safe route or the pressure of society or our authoritarian figures, like we choose a path that isn't what we're meant to do, and the joy is sapped from us. But then I think the universe, God, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, taps you, nudges you, yells at you, whaps you over the head with life
Yeah. Wow.
circumstances to
Yeah.
wake you up to get back on that true path. And when you are on that true path, I believe you do feel that childlike exuberance because you're in so much alignment with what you're here to do.
And before I go to my story, you reminded me of something that I think is really important. And that is that every event, it's really important for us to be grateful for every event. And, people are like selectively grateful. I'm really grateful I got this new car, but boy, my back hurts. Or, I got a flat tire, I missed my plane, and boy, I'm really upset. And what I say to people is, you don't know why you got a flat tire or why you missed your plane or why you got a headache or why you don't know what was coming that could have not been so good for you. So it's really important to be grateful for everything, even anything. And it's not, I'm grateful for this and I'm mad about this. It's like, I'm grateful for everything, because everything that happens in your life is putting you on a trajectory that you're supposed to be on. And if you stay in gratitude, like you said, it gets more exciting and more fun and more explosive. And you're like, man, this is really cool, because I stay in faith, I stay in trust, and I'm always grateful for everything. Even if I stub my toe and fall down, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And we don't know what it is, but deciding whether we're mad about it or grateful for it is our choice. And boy, if you just say, oh, wow, thank you for doing that, and I'm grateful for that. So I wanted to say that because that's really important, I think, in healing work. And a lot of things people don't understand is we say, be grateful, and then we're grateful for what we want to be grateful for, not everything, right?
And then we resist what is a
Yeah.
little uncomfortable, but yeah,
And
it's such a good
there for a reason.
reminder. Yeah,
It's
we
there for
need
a
that
reason.
reminder every day, because even if I'm going through tough times, or stressed about something, it's like to just pivot and go, okay, there is, because everyone in there, people that have near-death experiences, people that are on their deathbed. Like, I've just talked to so many people that work in hospice and palliative care and help people transition, and everybody just, they look back on their life and they realize that everything unfolded perfectly. There is a divine plan. And they wish they just surrendered and flowed and didn't resist and trusted, because it's such a great reminder to be grateful even for the icky, sticky stuff that's pushing us into a new.
It's pushing us forward, and we don't understand that tripping is pushing you forward, right? But we get mad because we tripped, or we look bad, or we're embarrassed, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I wanted to say that because as I've looked back at my life, there were so many times when I was not grateful, and I didn't understand what was actually happening to me. But I wouldn't be talking to you today. I wouldn't have been in the movie. I wouldn't be doing what I've been doing today if all these awful things hadn't happened to me, right? And it started when I was a child. And when I was a little kid, I was fully clairvoyant, psychic, and all those things. And I just thought everybody was. I didn't know that there was a borderline where you couldn't be or you wouldn't be. I just thought every little kid was. And I was raised by really religious German parents. And I was excited about the fact that I would find a bird with a broken wing, and I would do what my parents taught me. And I'd say, God, would you please help this bird? And I would hold the bird, and I'd feel this energy in my body, and the bird would shake, and then it would fly away. And I'd run home and go, Mom, I just healed a bird. And she'd go, stop lying to me. And she'd smack me.
Oh.
And I'm like, but, and this continued for a while. I kept finding these animals, and I'd do something and they'd be better. And I'd run home, and my mom didn't like it. And I found out later the reason she didn't like it was that her grandmother was a healer, and she had to hide in the mountains from them. But I didn't know that until later. My mom was actually trying to protect me, but I didn't know that. So I kept doing my thing, and one day something happened where it was just pushed her over the edge, and they decided that I needed to be taken to the church and having a Lutheran kind of style exorcism done on me. And again, I couldn't be more grateful for that happening, because now I understand it, right?
But terrifying as a child.
But terrifying. And I was in therapy for a while. And, they're shaking this stuff at me and telling me I'm going to burn in hell and devil get out of me and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't get this. I'm asking God to help this bird, and the bird's better. What's wrong with that? And they're like, the devil's tricking you. So anyway, they basically squished all of my gifts out of me, like wringing a sponge. And, it took a while because I kept trying to get back in, and I would get caught and I'd get in trouble. And I finally just blanked it out. So by the time I was about 7 years old, I was just a kid. And I'd forgotten that I did in this stuff, even though as I look back at my life, I see all the time. So I was getting intuition and guidance, and I was following it, but I didn't realize what it was. But my parents did this huge favor for me because they could have turned me into a circus act or some kid on TV that was doing magic tricks by healing things. And I probably would have become an alcoholic and I never probably would have made it. And I didn't have any life experience at age 7. So what they gave me was the freedom to have life experience. And so I've had, as you know, we don't need to talk about, I've had tremendously and challenging life experiences, whether it's been, disease or divorce or bankruptcy or all those things that have happened. And I realize now I'm grateful because they taught me about compassion. And so my life I was being trained to do what I do because I look at everybody that I work with absolute unconditional love and compassion, no matter what their story is, no matter what they're feeling, no matter what, because in some respects, I've been there. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to be depressed or have anxiety attacks or have a bad diagnosis. I tried to kill myself when I was 32. And so I know about all of that. And I wouldn't have had those experiences, I don't think, if my parents had let me alone. So people go, how could they do that to you? I'm like, no, it was the greatest gift ever. They gave me the freedom to become a human being and understand. And so fast forward, I spent my life in in business. I became what was called a turnaround CEO. I would go in and heal companies, which I find is interesting.
Yeah.
And fix companies that were broken. And then I'd, move on to the next company. And I managed to make an enormous amount of money. I lived in Corona Del Mar in California, in the big expensive house by the beach, big deal, the Porsche, the $4,000 suits, all that crap. And I was into materialist. Everything about me was more money equals more power. And this is in the 90s. I had no religious beliefs. I didn't believe in spiritual stuff. I just believed that the more money you made, the more powerful you were. That was my religion. And in 1999, I had everything taken from me. I was betrayed by 2 people that were very close to me, and everything was taken from me. And I went from this, smart ass rich kid in Corona Del Mar to somebody who was actually clipping food coupons out of the paper and going into Walmart, which is what I said I'd never do because I had no money. And I went through a process of about 3.5 years of working as a consultant just enough to make some money. But then I became a hermit and I started using pain pills and I started drinking alcohol. And I just kept spinning down into a darker corner until February 2003. I once again attempted to take my life in Seal Beach on the beach. And that's when, all this opened up for me. I'd taken these pills. I went down the beach. For some reason, I drew a circle in the sand. I sat in the middle of the circle and I just kind of looked up, and then all of a sudden I started screaming at God, like, why did you do this to me? I didn't do anything wrong, blah, 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 blah. And then I heard this voice that basically said, this is who you are and you have a choice and you need to make it right now. Do what you did as a child, except for human beings instead of animals. And you don't need to know anything. You already know everything, but you have to make a choice right now. Is it yes or is it no? And,
I have chills. I have chills.
Well, I know. I mean, so I'm like, okay, yes. And as soon as I said yes, my whole body cleared and all the crap that I'd taken was gone. And I was like, and then I thought I was crazy because I thought, I must be dead because I feel so good, And I lay there on the beach and then I started to cry and I kept crying and crying and crying. And I'm like, I got to get out of the beach. And I turned around to walk to my house and I felt all these chills in my back. And I thought somebody was going to rob me. And I turned around really fast and there was 100,000 angels standing on the beach. And I went back on my, I fell back down and just laid there and cried for a long time. And then I heard this voice that said, go to Sedona. And, I won't use up our whole time on this, but I'm like, you know what? This just happened to me. I ought to trust what's happening now. As crazy as it sounds, I got in my car, I drove to Sedona, and had all these just unbelievable experiences. And then at the end of my thing, they said, you need to move here. You're a healer, work here. And I'm like, but I've never worked on anybody yet. And they're like, it's not you, just get out of the way. And that's the quick story.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. I mean, we did almost 40,000 Zoom sessions a year during COVID. 40,000. And Kelly, a lot of that had to do with the movie, because people were caught in their house and they were watching that beautiful movie and they were looking for some help. And, so they'd Google me and they'd find out that I was doing Zoom sessions. And I mean, I'm so grateful that because of that movie, instead of being this kid that was just kind of moving around the US, I've got clients in almost every country now. And I still get clients every day from that movie, every day.
Yeah.
And they say, I saw that movie and I saw you and I knew that I had to work with you and I was called to you. And it's like, it's amazing. I mean, I just got back from 2 months in Europe and we did all these events all over, and 90% of the people come from the movie.
Wow.
We had a photographer coming to this event I did 2 weeks ago in Bavaria, and she had something come up and couldn't make it. And she said, here's 3 people that might be able to take my place. And we called the first one, and the one said, oh my God, I saw the movie last night. I couldn't wait to meet you. I said, God, I just want to meet this guy. And now you're calling and saying you want me to come photograph your event. So, I mean, stuff like that happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so often it's connected back to that film, which, like you said, it seems like forever ago, but I can remember every little piece of it in your home there. And, all those people, like all your family and friends, all the people we met and the photographers. And I remember it all because
Mm-hmm.
it was so special to me. And I know I told you this, a lot of my friends told me not to do it because they said, you don't know who these people are. They can make you look like a real fool. And I'm like, I trust Adam. I trust Kelly. I'm doing it. And here we are.
Here we are.
So here we are.
Talk to me a little bit about belief. Does one need to believe in order for the healing to work?
Yes. And that's an interesting question because belief is a tricky word, and it's kind of like, I'm going to back up and talk about intention versus expectation for a second.
Okay.
Because a lot of people come to see me or come to a healer or come to, they're Googling, they're going to the doctor, or they're going somewhere for help. And most people have an expectation. And an expectation to me is like an energy hold. It's like you're putting it out there without a conclusion. The expectation is your conclusion, but it's almost never the right conclusion because you don't really know what's going on. And so if you come with an expectation that you're going to see this guy and he's going to touch you on your right knee and 10 seconds later, your knee is going to be healed, it's probably not, because you're asking for you're telling God what to do, basically. So to me, belief and trust are hand in hand, and an intention, intention is an action word. It's like pushing down on the gas. I intend to release. I intend to surrender. I intend to let go. I intend to be healthy. And that starts something in motion that's more powerful than any expectation would do. And if you make an intention, it also starts to revive the belief that you have, because with an expectation, you're going to be disappointed most likely because I didn't do what you thought I was supposed to do. If your intention is to come and surrender and let go and heal, then that healing that occurs, however minor, is going to strengthen your belief. And the more you believe, the quicker you're going to heal. And the quicker you're going to heal, the more you're going to believe. So you can receive healing without belief, but you probably won't understand it because you're not thinking about what it is that really happened. You're thinking about what you wanted to happen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I remember you telling me a story about, I think it was a person with late stage cancer. This was early on. This was when we were back filming Sarah with PLS or whatever. And you told me about someone who didn't believe, like the father didn't believe, and this woman had cancer or something, and then it was like the last ditch effort. Like there was nothing else that the doctors could do. And so the dad was like, okay, let's try it, and brought this woman or maybe it was the dad himself, and then it completely shifted. So like he was a skeptic and it worked or something.
I know which one you're talking about.
Okay.
The one that comes to mind is the woman was seeing me and her husband had stage 4 melanoma, and I didn't know it, but he was a personal injury lawyer. And had I known that, I probably would have said, nah, you better stay away. And they literally carried him in to, this was in New York City. They literally, it was like the week before Christmas. He had, he weighed probably like 90 pounds, maybe. He couldn't get up and go to the bathroom by himself. And they carried him in, laid him on this massage table. It was a group, there was like 20 people in it. And he's like, you know what? What have I got to lose? Why not? And so there's a reason why this happens, and don't let me forget to tell you why this happens. But so here's a guy who's a personal injury lawyer, a man, which typically are more skeptic, that was on death's bed, and they bring him in. He can't get up to go to the bathroom, and 20 minutes later or less, he sits up and stands up and starts walking and says, "Where's the bathroom?" And I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, What am I doing?" It's like, I can't do this. And his wife was sitting there and took him to the bathroom, and he came back and he was sitting on the bed. And he's like, "What's going on? What did you give me to drink? What do you?" I mean, he's like kept looking for all the voodoo that I must have done, right? And so then he goes home. I mean, they hold on to him and he walks out. The first time he'd walked in a long time. And I said to him, "Please go rest. You just had a miracle occur and your body just completely reorganized itself. You need to rest." So I'll make this quicker. So he goes home and he decides that he's going to get the Christmas tree out of the attic and decorate it because it's before Christmas, and nobody decorated because they thought he was going to die. He crawls up in the attic. This is like 4 hours after he couldn't walk. He's carrying the Christmas tree down and he trips and rolls down the stairs. And his wife calls 911 because she's afraid he's broken every bone in his body. They take him to the hospital. They do an MRI and a CAT scan. There's no cancer in his body, none. And so why did that happen to him when he didn't believe? Because I think that God uses certain people as examples of what's possible, that there are no limitations, there are no exclusions, there are no boundaries. If your soul is ready and you just let go, like he is like, what have I got to lose? I don't care. When you're in that state, sometimes things happen. So anyway, I think that's a story that I probably told you because that's one of my favorite stories.
Yes, it's
so crazy.
amazing. What a miracle.
And I see stuff like that happen all the time. And then the challenge is there's somebody that's been coming to see me for 2 years that's gradually getting better. And they see something like that happen and they're like, why not me?
Mm-hmm.
And so I know I'm just kind of going all over the place. I hope you don't
No,
mind,
that was my next question. So I was going to be like, why do people not heal or
So
take
I've
longer?
been asking that question. So one of the things that I do is every month I do 2 or 3, call them channeled master calls, where I get out of the way and I take on an embodiment of some master, and they do healing work through me. They do these major teachings through me. They're really amazing. And the first of the year, I started to get irritated because I'm like, okay, what is it that people are missing here? Because these people that keep coming, they keep coming, they keep coming. They want to be healed. And they're doing the affirmations, they're doing the gratitude, they're doing everything, and they're getting a little better. But how come they're not getting all the way? I want to know. I demand to know. There's got to be something we're missing here. And they said, we needed to wait until this year for people to get all this other work done. So when we tell you what it is, they'll be able to understand it. Okay, you ready?
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy. It's like, so they said it's all about your second and third thoughts, meaning you say, I'm healthy. That's your affirmation. I am healthy. What's the thought that comes in right underneath that?
Wait, I'm not yet.
I'm not. Or how could I be healthy? Or
Or
did
this
I
is
say
silly.
I'm,
It's because it's not really true. Yeah.
it's not true. I'm telling a lie. Whatever, and just think about it for a minute and watch what happens. Be vigilant. When you say things that you think are really, I am amazing, you hear that second thought, which says, no, you're not. And then that third thought says, you're really not. And so what happens is the energy of the I am goes like that, and nothing happens. So they said the trick is that the practice is to be vigilant of your second and third thoughts and surround them with gratitude and appreciation for being there, surround them with gratitude and love, and let them go. And you'll have to do that a few times. Eventually, that second and third, and sometimes even fourth thought will be gone. And I've had people that have been doing this for the last couple of months, and they're like, I cannot believe how different my life is, because I all of a sudden was aware of that sabotage thought that comes in right underneath it, right? And it happens so fast that you say, I'm healthy. You could say it 100 times, and every time there's that little, right?
Doubt that.
They said that I did a whole master class, a whole teaching on this. If we're just become vigilant, so it's important that we become vigilant, that we don't say go away, because then it comes back harder, right? What you resist persists. We acknowledge it's there. We surround it with gratitude for the lessons it's been teaching us by holding us in place of whatever we've been trying to get rid of. And we surround it with gratitude, surround it with love, and we just take a deep breath and let it go. Then it's not going to maybe the first time, but after a few times, you say, I'm healthy, and you get, yes, you are. And that's where the power is.
Wow.
It's that, right?
Yeah.
It's so simple. But people are putting placards on the refrigerator and walking around with I am healthy on their forehead, but they're not paying attention to what's happening after that, right?
It's not landing because of thoughts
It's not
2 and
landing.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. And it like scatters into nothing.
Whew, that's good.
That's a big one, huh?
That's a good nugget right there.
So I think that is part of, like, this guy, he just said, I don't care. That was his only thought. It's like, whatever. And versus somebody coming in and saying, I'm going to die, but I have to do all these things. I'm looking for this feeling. I'm looking for this change. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. And all that stuff is just taking you out of the healing energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you have expectations, or you're like focused on perhaps the tumor, or for me, I'm going to shift the way I'm thinking about this. But I've been frustrated because I used to be a runner, and for 6 years I haven't run. So I didn't run when I was pregnant because I just didn't feel right running. It's just like jostling the baby. I know a lot of people do, and it's great, but it just felt weird to me. And then I had a natural unmedicated birth, and I probably got back to playing tennis and doing life because I was like ready a little too early. So my pelvic floor, whatever the reason, didn't reorganize correctly. It's just the bladder sphincter. If I run, sneeze, jump, it's gotten better, but it leaks when I run. Super fun fact, guys, about me. Now you can picture me peeing while I'm running, but gotta be vulnerable here.
Can't so clear that image.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm just like, I've done so much work. I've obviously see healers for different things all the time, and I'm really focused on the pelvic floor. And I'm training a marathon, the New York Marathon in November. So I'm like, I got to get to it, right? And so I started running because I have to get the lungs and the legs conditioned for this run. And I'm literally like come back with soaking, like I have to wear black leggings so nobody sees that it's just dribbling out. And it's super frustrating. But just shifting that, like, I guess what I was trying to say is, when we have an expectation, like I'm so hyper-focused on the bladder sphincter or the pelvic floor, it's like you almost have to let go of the expectation or the constrain around it and allow the light to heal whatever it needs to heal in whatever
Yeah,
timing?
because it's like you're putting that in a little box and you're saying, just heal this. And all of this needs to change in order to heal this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you let go of the expectation, when you let go of the the definition of what it is,
Mm-hmm.
like that guy, he just said, I'm out of here. I let go, and boom, because he didn't say, I please heal my cancer. He's like, I'm gonna let go.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that we don't focus on what it is we expect to happen or what we think we need to heal, because I always say to people, that's the manifestation of something else.
Mm.
You're plucking the flower off, and
Yeah.
the flower keeps coming back instead of pulling the thing out by the root.
Yeah.
And so when your intention is, my intention is to heal my body, I'm so grateful it is healed, and then watch the second thoughts, you'll be amazed at how quickly that will heal. So let's do something.
Yes.
You want to do something?
Get in there, heal what I need.
Yeah.
Open channel.
So what's going to happen now is we're going to open the space to you, but it's also going to open the space to anybody that watches your podcast.
Awesome.
Cool, right? So
buckle up,
whether
people.
It's, yeah, whatever it is, I don't know when you're going to air this thing, but whenever it is, and whenever you watch it, it's gonna open the space back up to you, right?
Mm.
And so I'm just going to explain this for a minute so we can make sure. So the energy that works with me is very high frequency. So it's outside of your it's like a high-pitched dog whistle that you can't hear, but it's happening. And so just because you can't hear it doesn't mean it's not happening, or you can't feel it doesn't mean it's not happening, because it's a frequency that your body's not used to and will probably ignore first. You won't. I'm talking to your audience, not you, okay? And so what we want to do is, the easiest way to get to just about everything in the body so I don't remember what you said was wrong with you. So I'm not even going to think about that. What I'm more interested in is opening your channel up from above your head, straight down your spine, to the tip of your spine, and then grounding that energy down your legs. And in that process, what will happen is everything from here to the ground gets activated so it can release if it's less than love, and strengthened if it's more than love. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. So you're so fun, because you're just like, bring it, right?
Let's go.
Okay. So just take a deep breath. And I would just want you to think about your favorite color just pouring down your spine. Whatever that color is, doesn't matter. Imagine. And I like the word imagine and not, visualize, because visualize has rules to it. Imagine has no rules. So just imagine that your favorite color is pouring down from the top of your head all the way down your spine, and through your pelvic girdle, down your legs, and out your feet. And just be grateful for it. I'm so grateful for this beautiful energy. So grateful for my life. I'm so grateful for my beautiful little child. I'm so grateful for my new puppy. I'm just think of all the things that make you happy and grateful. Because gratitude mixed with bliss, mixed with love, is the magic potion. Works every time. Yeah, there you go. Just nice, easy breaths. I'm grateful. See that beautiful energy moving down through you. And see, anybody that watches this, we're not doing anything specific. We're just opening up. So this will help anybody that wants to do it, that watches. And just wiggle your toes, make sure it's moving all the way through. Oh, I'm so grateful. Yeah. Hugging your daughter, playing with the puppy. See, I pay attention, Kelly. I know what's going on.
You do? I know. You follow me on Instagram. I love it.
So notice I'm asking you to think about things that make you smile, not about things that you think need to be worked with. Makes a huge difference. I'm grateful for my healthy body. I'm grateful for winning the New York Marathon. I'm grateful for my strong legs. I'm grateful for my lungs. I'm grateful for everything in my life. I'm so grateful. So grateful. See, when you take away the limitations and the exclusions and the boundaries, everything changes.
Mm.
And I always say that to people, we're the only ones who put exclusions and limitations on ourselves. God doesn't.
Mm.
10 years younger too, so that's
Mm-hmm.
not bad.
Hey, hey,
Hey,
I'll take it.
and just wiggle your body, like wiggle your butt back and forth a little bit. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. So you look really different. And so
Feel
my
different.
advice to you, yeah. So my advice today is just keep every time your mind tries to drag you down into the swamp, so to speak, remember how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember that.
Yeah.
And that keeps changing the frequency, because what we want to do is raise the frequency of that part of your body that's out of balance. It was, I was looking at it, you were out of alignment. And so
Mm-hmm.
part of the problem was the energy was coming down and kind of bouncing around at the base of your spine, which was creating all kinds of problems in that part of your body. So we just lined it up, and it was a little crooked. We lined it up, and that all happens by you just letting that energy come down your spine.
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't ask you to visualize lining your energy up. I didn't ask you to visualize anything that your mind goes, did I do it right? Did I do it? All that crap we do with that second thought. I just ask you to imagine pretty water running down your spine. Anybody can do that.
Yeah.
And there's no rules to it. It's like, okay, boom. And then imagine your puppy, imagine your daughter, and then you're there.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Cool.
Ah, thank you. First of all,
I'll
great,
be I'll
grateful
be
for you.
cheering. I'll
Yeah.
be cheering at the New York Marathon.
Yeah. It's so good. Let's see. What is your favorite recent healing story? I know our Christmas tree guy was a few years back. So what's like name a, because again, people belief will strengthen and hope will rise, and they can start to replace second and third thoughts if they have more
Yeah.
examples of possibility.
So this just happened. I like recent things. So 2 weeks ago, I was in the Bavarian Alps doing a weekend retreat, and and I'm one of those people that likes to know who I'm working with. So I'm out having dinner with people. I'm out sitting with people. I'm out talking to people. I'm not hiding in the back and coming out when the curtain's up. I'm in the crowd. I'm hanging out with my peeps, right? And this lady came up to me and she said, I have been doing spiritual work for 37 years and it's not helping me. I still haven't found my partner. I don't feel happy. Nothing in my life is working. And you'll like this next part. She said, a week ago, she said, a week ago, I was talking to my counselor, my therapist. And this is a woman who lived in Switzerland. A week ago, I was talking to my therapist. I randomly called her. I hadn't called her for a long time, but I thought I'd reach out for some help. She said, have you seen the movie Eel?
So
I'm,
crazy.
I'm serious, right? And she said, no. And the woman said, watch it. This woman went home and watched the movie, started crying, and Googled me, and my event was sold out. And she put herself on the waiting list. She was a school teacher. She didn't have any money to speak of. And she, the night before, got called and said, we just had an opening. You can come. And I think or maybe I've already posted. She did a video at the end that said what I just said. 30 some years, I've had pain in my body. I've had anxiety. I've never felt happy. I've never felt better in my life. Everything has changed in my body, and I am so happy. And another woman from Austria saw the movie like 2 weeks before, and she told her friends that she was coming to see me, and her friend said, "You're crazy. This guy's just one of those healer guys. He doesn't." And she goes, "No, I could tell. I could feel it in the movie." And she went back and changed her whole life. And this is only 2 weeks ago. We had a person there that was in a wheelchair and in enormous pain. And again, when people tell me that they've been working on something for a long time and nobody can figure out what it is, I always like that, because to me, if they don't have a diagnosis attached to it, you're not attached to the diagnosis. If they don't know what it is and you don't know what it is, then you don't know what you're supposed to let go of, right? Because you don't know what it is. I always love that. So like, let's just, whatever it is. And I like to challenge people like, okay, it's Friday, by Sunday, we're going to play some Saturday Night Fever and you're going to get up and move around, and she did. And so there's so many, Kelly. I mean, people's lives change so quickly, and it's because they let go and allow this beautiful energy, which, by the way, is our original energy. That's how we started. We were made that way the first time. It's us who have taken all this stuff and corrupted ourselves, and we have free will to do that. So we did it. Now we have free will to let it go. And if you just make the decision, make the choice. I mean, people say make the choice. Just decide right now that you don't want to have whatever you had 10 minutes ago, and you're going to let it go, and you're willing to do that. Done. So, I mean, I could tell you thousands of stories, but it's like,
and maybe like there's a reason, for whatever, just the thing I was talking about before that I've been dealing with for 6 years. Like maybe my body needed a break from running. Like maybe, so there is a certain amount of like surrender to the lesson that's attached to it as well.
Well, I think more important is that you're grateful that it happened, because you don't know what would have happened had it not happened. And maybe it was, I'm just going to make this up, but maybe there was something else brewing in there that needed to be flushed out in a very gentle way. And that's what's been happening for 6 years, but we're irritated because it's been happening for 6 years instead of being grateful that it happened, because you don't know why it happened, because it could be something much greater than what you can even imagine, right? That's the way I look at things. And when you flip it like that, like, I'm grateful for this lesson, this experience that I had. I'm grateful that it's complete. I'm grateful that it's gone. Thank you. Then versus, right?
Yeah. Yes. I love it. Okay, great. Let's see. There's so much I want to ask you. We talk about a little bit, you just touched upon the diagnosis and how it's easier to let go when there's not a label. And, I know that you've probably evolved and modified your speech since doing the film and doing the summit after. But we really talked about like ripping the label, ripping off the label. Can you talk a little bit about that and how our cells, we get these new cells every day, and we, when we are affirming I am sick, or I have this, or I have that, we're kind of programming the new cells to organize in that way.
I started doing this new thing where I give people a blank label and I have them stick it on them when they come to an event. And they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, you'll see. And, I'm like, okay, now you get to choose what's on the label, and you're going to remove that label from yourself, because you're the only one that can do that. You have the power. So, but anyway, so, Bruce Lipton, as I think you know him.
Yeah.
I love that guy. I mean, he's so brilliant, because in all his research, he has proven, I love scientific stuff, because he's proven that it's common fact that we get hundreds of millions of new cells every day, and they're as pure as they can be, and they will take on the cell they replaced unless we intervene. So in other words, if they're replacing a cancer cell, if you just allow them to do that, then you have a new cancer cell, instead of changing the energy of that new cell to be a healthy cell, and so on. So, and you do that by gratitude, and you do that by not thinking about what's wrong with you. Because every time I say I have cancer, or my oncologist or my support group or my chemo or whatever it is, you're programming that new cell to do exactly that because only you can do that. And Bruce has shown that over and over and over and over. So what I like to say to people is, and it's, you can talk about you get a new hand every 4 months or all these things that don't make any sense, but they're true. And you wonder why you still have arthritis in your hand. It was because you talk about how you have arthritis in your hand all the time instead of being grateful that you have a hand. I have a hand, fingers work. It's great. I love my hand. And every morning I'm like, I love my hand or I love my body or hi, everybody. Hi, new cells. Welcome to the party. We're all healthy. We're all happy. We're going to dance instead of, oh God, I got chemo today. I'm never going to get any better. I'm never going to have a partner. I'm never going to have any money. And our cells always go, yes, yes, yes. And it's really difficult for people because we've been programmed to talk to the doctor or talk to our therapist or talk to each other about everything that's wrong with us. And all we're doing when we do that is strengthening everything that's wrong with us. And I don't know if we ever did this with you, but years ago I did this website and I pass them out, these stickers that say wish granted. I think I gave them out at your event. And it's to remind you that everything you say or think in 5 seconds, God's going to say, granted. And so it is. And so I challenge people to notice how many times a day they sabotage themselves. Right? I'm not gonna feel good. I don't feel good. I don't want to do this or all that. We do that, and then our body goes, okay.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like the lesson now too is, obviously you have tremendous gifts and we do need community. We're communal beings. We need connection. We need the village to help reflect and sometimes mediate and, channel the light because that is your gift. But it seems like the direction that the world is going in is to take our power back and learn how to be our own guru, and we still will need outside assistance for sure to facilitate sometimes, but the majority, like we have all the tools it takes for us to be our own healer and just to have that direct connection to the divine and to that source energy.
People ask me all the time, what does the divine being say about what's going on right now? Why is there so much stuff? And the answer's been the same for a couple of years. And it's that they say that fear is the greatest motivator. And it's going to keep getting worse until we get motivated to take back our own power instead of letting somebody else's power take us. And so it's being done through the motivation of fear, which people can't get their head around. But if you look at history and look at things that have happened because of fear and disruption and all those kinds of things that have happened in the past, all these new things get created. And the divine is basically wanting to create so much, expose the untruth, right? In politics and in banking and whatever it is, to expose everything and let everybody see how it's exposed and stop being afraid of doing something about it and actually doing something about it, taking back your power, pushing that away. That's where we're going with this. And that's why it's important for people like you to have these podcasts and people to get together and understand the power that we have, because we have all the power. We keep giving it away out there. And it's like, no, it's already here. Claim it, own it, be it, run the marathon.
Yes, I am healed. I am healthy. I am strong. Yeah. I'm a winner.
I'm powerful.
I'm powerful. I'm fast.
Yeah. So
I love it.
We get so buried with the energy of fear. When I've always said, one of God's greatest gifts is the energy of fear, because it's meant to make you move, to make you do something instead of pull the covers over your head. It's like animals use it to run faster.
Yeah.
We're supposed to use it to move forward faster.
Don't freeze.
By the way, you said the word a couple of times that I always like to to discuss,
Okay.
and that's the word lesson.
Okay.
Have you heard me discuss the word lesson before?
I have
I don't know.
not.
Okay. So let me tell you a story. This is a true story. It happened at least 15 years ago.
Okay.
And I was doing a live event, and I said, hey, all my guides are here. Does anybody have a question? And this woman raised her hand, and she looked really angry. And she said, I want to know when I'm ever going to learn my lessons. What is it about lessons? I'm sick of the word lessons. Everybody talks about learning your lesson. This is part of your lesson. What is the true meaning of the word lesson? Good question, right? And I hear this giggling because, the beings that work with us are actually very funny. They're in a state of bliss and they got it. They got it. So they're like having fun. So I hear it giggling and I'm like, uh-oh, this is going to be funny or not. And this is what they said. They said, oh, you human beings, you have made two words into one. It's actually less on. And the purpose of every experience is to have the experience and move on so that you have less on. So somebody tells you have a diagnosis. Your lesson was you signed up. People say, well, you signed up to have cancer. Well, the moment you were told you had cancer, you've had it. And so it's time to move on. You've learned your lesson by having that experience. You have free will. You can either keep having it or you can move on. So they said, so the question is, do you want to have less on or do you want to be a moron?
Oh,
And I thought that was really brilliant because they keep saying to me, yes, you sign up for these experiences. Once you've had the experience, you've had the experience. At that point, it's free will from there. You're going to keep having it or you're going to have another experience.
don't be a moron.
Don't be a moron.
Get the less on and move on. I love it. Just hold up your hands real quick because you have gigantic hands that are clearly meant to heal. They're bigger than your head right now. It's amazing. Look at those healing hands. Where can people find you to, connect?
I'm easy. I have a really tough website. It's called robwergin.com. And we have all of our events on there, and there's free stuff on there. You can request angel cards, which I give away, which are imprinted with the energy of the divine. We give them away for free. We give lots of stuff away for free. There's free calls on there for healing. And, what I say to people is there's a lot of videos on there of people that have had these different experiences that we've videoed. But when we video it, then we overlay the energy of healing. So let's say somebody's on there that has panic attacks and they're talking about how they don't have panic attacks anymore. If you watch that video, you're actually receiving the energy that will help you let go of your panic attacks. So there's healing embedded in everything that I do. So just get on the website and have fun with it. But yeah, we're there. I'm going to be doing a weekend event in Sedona next weekend. Then we're in Boston, and I'm going to see you in November. We got another event in October. I'm doing a special VIP Egypt trip in February, but it sold out within like 10 minutes after we announced it, which was crazy. So, and again, Kelly, I was really busy when I met you.
I know you're like, you got real busy. You didn't know busy. You didn't know busy.
Well, but the beautiful part is that they're from all over the world.
Yeah.
And because of that movie and then COVID, it just, there's people from everywhere. And so your reach has gone further than I know you've probably even ever dreamed of because of the sequence of events that occurred that we should be grateful for, right? Yeah. Because look what it got us.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. So I'm ever grateful to you for the movie, and we should do it again. We should do a follow-up.
Yeah.
In your spare time.
Exactly. Something will come. We will do something for sure. But thank you. I'm grateful. Heal would not exist without you as well. And I'm sure there was some divine healing transmission that came through the film. I wanted it to be an experience for people, a healing experience to watch. And I think that some of your divine channeling made it through that medium too. I think people get a little healing.
I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot.
So thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll let you go heal the world, and I love you.
Okay.
And
love you too.
We'll talk soon.
Yeah. Let me know how you're feeling. Okay.
I will.
Besides perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I feel fantastic. I feel powerful. Thank you for listening to the Heal with Kelly podcast. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. And make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. Oh, and if you found this episode inspiring, please rate, review, and share Heal with Kelly so that we can grow our audience and reach more people. We truly appreciate it. Lots of love.